Just when America has reached a breaking point with division, visionary influencer Danny Benson's "I'm Proud of You, Sis, Bro" movement taps into the pulse and heartbeat of a culture radically torn. But this loving mom's voice of reason and calm has received national recognition.
How'd you balance having your children and always traveling with the Yankee organization?
When I became a dad, I said that I would always love like a mother.
I feel like I have to try certain things or act a different way because I know some people or some kids.
So join Danny Benson as she celebrates her special guests on her show and highlights their gifts and contributions to our world.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining on Proud of You, Sis. My name is Danny Benson. Please like, share, follow, comment. If you know anyone that you want to give their flowers to, men or women, please definitely get in touch with me because I would love to give them their flowers online. Hey, I hope everyone's having a good day today. I am super exhausted. It was Mother's Day weekend, so I felt like I didn't sleep the whole weekend. I was supposed to be relaxing, but of course, no days off for moms because I was still being a mom on Mother's Day. I call it Mother's Day weekend. We had a good time with the babies. I hope everyone had a great Mother's Day. I call it Mother's Day month because, well, I call it Mother's Day forever because every day is Mother's Day in my opinion. But hey, we can't forget about the men. There's some great men who are mom dads, meaning like they take the role of the mom. So we have to, give kudos to them too. But today we're talking about narcissism. I've realized, or I've noticed, and social media has gained popularity. I think it started, I guess, with, we had MySpace and then it turned into Facebook. But Facebook was kind of cool because it was everyone that we kind of knew. So you kind of didn't let people in that you didn't know. So then it came Instagram. And Instagram was, you wanted people you didn't know to follow you. And what started with Instagram was, I remember the selfies. That's when I started seeing like the narcissism kind of begin and the narcissism traits started because everybody was all me, 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 me. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I don't know what happened, but there's an explosion of everyone using this name now, narcissism. And my friend Rhonda had come on the show because she was dating a narcissist. I think we have, I don't know if I've, well, I won't talk about me, but she definitely was dating a narcissist. So I have her on the show because we're always on the phone laughing and crying at the same time. And we want to give you guys like tidbits of not, if you see these signs of narcissism, you should definitely run away to the opposite direction because it will save you a lot of heartache. So I want to introduce Miss Rhonda Mins on the show. I am so proud of her. I met Rhonda when we worked at Ralph Lauren.
Over 20 years ago.
Oh my God, you're telling people my age right now. Stop. But we've been friends ever since. So we always talk about our dating escapades. Mm-hmm. And we've known each other for a long time. So this narcissism thing has been coming up for the last couple of years.
Yes.
I don't know. We didn't know the terminology then. I don't really think that when we were growing up, I don't really think I never really dated a narcissistic guy. Like the guys that I dated were gentlemen, open the door, chivalry, whatever you want, baby, happy wife, happy life type of men. Those are the men that I was used to growing around. That's how my dad treated my mom. Empathy, loving, caring stuff. And then all of a sudden, social media happened.
Yes.
And I don't know what happened to I'm not going to say all men. I'm not going to generalize. But there's a lot of narcissistic men and women out there now. So let's dive in. How did you discover your significant other was a narcissist?
Well, I will say it happened about 3 years ago. I had no idea about narcissism, gaslighting, any terms whatsoever. But I was dating somebody for 5 years. And during the pandemic is when I realized that I was potentially dating somebody narcissistic. And one of my sisters pointed out that, oh, he's gaslighting you. Now, if everybody remembers, during the pandemic, it was lockdown. So this particular time in 2020, I was locked down with my boyfriend. We shared a space together, apartment together, or I should say a house. And I started to notice like just little traits because we are in the same household together. So I started to see little different things that I didn't notice before. And one day we got into an argument, and which stopped in I guess July of 2020. I contacted my sister, and she's like, "Oh, he's gaslighting you." I'm like, "What the fuck, or what the hell is gaslighting?" So I said, "What is gaslighting?" So she then told me what it is.
What is gaslighting?
Basically, if I say, Danny, hey, that picture above you is blue, knowing that picture has several different colors in it, right?
Yeah.
So basically it's telling somebody to basically kind of like make it seem like you're going crazy. So if I'm in an argument with somebody and say like, well, you did X, Y, and Z to me, like, no, you're just bugging out, you're crazy. I didn't do that to you. They're basically trying to make it seem like they're doing something to you, but you're the one that's at fault.
So basically, let me explain to my audience. Gaslighting means if I ask my significant other, I thought you were supposed to be here at 6, because that's the plan that we made that morning.
Right.
And then he comes in like 10 minutes later after 6. And then he looks at you and says, no, it was supposed to be 7. And you're like, no, we
Right.
agreed to 6. So then they make you feel like you're crazy because you know it's 6, but then they sit there and they gaslight you to trick you because they don't want to take accountability for being late. And they said, no, we said it was going to be 7. So that's like an example of gaslighting, basically tricking you to believe that you're just imagining stuff, or the conversation we had was the way they saw it or they heard it, and you're
Mm-hmm.
wrong and you're crazy. And they
Right.
tend to do this all the time, and that's like a common trait of gaslighting. So I just want to explain that to the audience, because you might be in a narcissistic relationship and you don't even know it. Like, who knows? Because Rhonda didn't know it. And I realized, like, when the lockdown happened, a lot of people were getting divorced, got divorced, broke up, because before the pandemic, we had busy lives. We in and out the house. I see you for a couple hours. You go to work. I go to work. Okay. But
Mm-hmm.
then with the lockdown, a lot of people got to find out who their partners really were. Some
Right.
relationships grew tighter, and then some relationships grew way apart.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly. And that's what happened to me. I dated somebody that I was dating on a weekend basis. Like I would see him on the weekends, see him a couple days here and there. But once the lockdown happened and you're like, okay, we're in the house together every day, you start to see little things. And it's not just little things that get on your nerves. It's patterns. Now I want to stress that it's behaviors and patterns. Patterns and behaviors that happen every single time that make you feel like, no, this is not right. This is not how, somebody should behave. And that's how I started to learn. And I'm telling you, once my sister told me, like, yeah, he's gaslighting you, I Googled and I found a host of videos on YouTube and, different podcasts that kind of like broke every single thing down. And I started to realize, like, yeah, this guy is a narcissist. Now, mind you, he's not clinically diagnosed, because technically you have to be clinically diagnosed. But if you believe that those traits are there, it's 9 traits. So
what
if
are the
it's nine,
traits? Do
so
you know some of the traits?
I do. So here it is. So grandiose behavior, lack of accountability, lack of sympathy, very controlling, superior attitude, blames others for failures, and those are some of them. Those are just some of them. that I experience on a regular basis with, the guy I dated. He used to treat
So,
me kind of bad in front of, like, if we're in restaurants, he would treat the waiters or waitresses kind of bad, or, just talking, really crazy in front of people just to kind of get a reaction out of me, and knowing I wouldn't say anything, but just to try to get a reaction.
and one thing about narcissism is they need the supply.
Yes.
They need the love supply, whether it's positive or negative. It's a supply. Like they feed off a supply, and if they don't have supply, they basically like die and wither. So they go from one relationship to the next relationship, to the next
Yes.
relationship, next relationship. Don't Most of them don't even go get therapy because they feel like nothing is wrong with them. But narcissism is in the DSM-4 psychological book.
DSM-5. Yeah.
DSM-5 now. Okay, that's how old I'm getting. DSM-5. It came with 5 now, where it is actually a mental illness. And a lot of therapists don't like to deal with narcissistic people because they go to therapy and they lie.
Right.
So you can't help people if they're lying, because you go to therapy to really be vulnerable and tell your truth, so the therapist can navigate with you and help you get to a place of peace. But with narcissists, because they feel that nothing is wrong with them, then usually therapists find them difficult to handle as patients because they never really let you see their true self.
Right.
So do you think narcissism comes from maybe some trauma in the child's
Yes.
life where they had to
They do
protect?
say that. They do say that it could come from, basically childhood, unresolved childhood issues, whether the child at the time was either overly, the mother or father overly, attentive to the child, or not too much attention. Or it could have come from, this whole host of social media where everybody is just like, out for themselves and have to show and prove on social media what they have, and things like that. So
I mean, so do you think narcissist has gotten bigger,
yes,
like
it
more
has.
now? Because I notice in social media, if
Yes.
I if I if I press one narcissist thing, the algorithm picks it up for whatever reason,
Yes. Well, that's
and
how
all
I
of us.
was able to, find out about it. I just Googled, and like I said, when my sister said, "Oh, he's gas," I had no idea what gaslighting. So I just Googled, and a whole host of YouTube videos came up. And I had time because we was in the pandemic. So I listened to it. I carefully listened because I never want to, say something. I wanted to make sure, because just to mention, I let go of that guy. I had stopped dating him, and we no longer have a relationship because of that, because I can't deal with somebody that's like that. So it's definitely out there, and a lot more people are dealing with it. The term narcissistic has become very much, used. It's overly used at times. I think, and a lot of people said the same thing. Oh, just because a person do one bad thing, oh, they're a narcissist. No, you have to go through those 9 traits, see those patterns of behavior, and then you can kind of see, okay, yeah, I'm dealing with this type of person, and you can choose yourself whether you want to still continue with that or not.
Well, I know right now you're in therapy because it
Yes.
really hurts you.
Yes.
Um, Explain certain situations that you felt that you had to go to therapy with because of his gaslighting, because it has to be more than just gaslighting he did to
Oh
you.
yeah.
Um,
Yes, so I started therapy about a year ago, and it wasn't just because of, the guy I dated, just a narcissist. I just wanted to kind of get clear on, okay, what is it in me that's picking those type of guys? Because I wanted to get clear on where is it coming from, because it comes from somewhere. So I started last year, and she just went through, what kind of, I won't go deep into details, but just childhood traumas or anything like that. and just learning the different types of people that I'm attracted to. Because later, after that relationship, I kind of dated or had a situationship with somebody else that I potentially think that was also narcissistic. So I wanted to kind of get clued in on, like, why am I attracting these type of people? What's in me that's attracting these people? It's not just gaslighting. It's just, you know, just making you feel crazy, and it just all types of things, and just no accountability. So
Well, narcissists tend to go after people who are very empathetic,
yes.
people who are very forgiving, because you
Mhm.
got to be very forgiving to deal with a narcissist, because they do so much stuff
Yeah.
that they, if they're with someone who doesn't forgive, then the relationship is not going to last as long as they want them to last, right?
Mhm.
So they have to be with someone who's very empathetic, someone who's very, like I said before, very forgiving. And you know what? I think they look for people that have some self-esteem issues. Like they look
Mhm.
for the person that might have it all in every other area, but then in one area they might not have it all. And then you meet this, because remember, narcissistic people are charming too.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
I mean, the whole world thinks they're the greatest
Absolutely.
thing. The whole world thinks they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, meaning that they
Right.
have like two images. Like for the world,
Yes.
they look like, whoa, I want to be with this person. This person looks so amazing. But behind the closed door, this person could potentially be a monster.
Yeah. And that's what I experienced. Like, I would be around my ex boyfriend, and then, outside, like parties, he's the life of the party. Oh, he's great. And oh my gosh, you guys are great together. But inside, it's just like these little small things that he would do that just like, no, that's not, no, that's not right, you know?
So, okay, so tell me about how it took you to even leave this relationship, because what happens with narcissistic relationships is it's like a roller coaster ride. It goes up
Yes.
and down. So they love bomb you. It's like
Hmm.
a cycle. So they love bomb you. They do everything you want them to do. They, everything. Like they basically mirror you. They basically do whatever they know that you would want to do. So that's like the first cycle of like the narcissism. Like they love bomb you, love bomb you, love bomb you. When they suck you in, then they take the mask off, and then they show their true self.
Yeah.
By then, you're hooked in all over again, and you're just hoping like it's gonna get to the point where they're gonna start love bombing you again.
Hmm.
And sometimes it takes a long time to get to that love bombing stage, because you have to go to the stage of them being like completely a-holes, I can say, right? They have to be that. And then when you finally catch on to what they're doing and they lack accountability, the cycle goes like this, and then they start love bombing
Yeah.
you again.
Starts all over again. Yeah.
It starts
I
all over
would
again.
say I went through that prior to learning about it. I went through that because those 5 years it was in that relationship, it was the same cycle. Argument, love bomb, get back together, and it was the same cycle. But once I realized that's a pattern and that's a problem, and once I got clued in, like this is never going to stop. So once I learned that, like, yeah, this is not for me. This is not something I want for myself. And once I saw that my family started to notice, like, this guy is a jerk. He was more than a jerk. They said that this guy's not for you. Once my family saw that, I saw like this is not what I want for myself. So I'm leaving. I'm out. And it only took that one time. I didn't have to go back and forth. It took the one time in 2020, in the summer of 2020, and I left and haven't going back since. And I have no and haven't even heard from him.
So what do you think were the traits in you that attract a narcissist?
I would say the need to like want to get married. I'm at a certain age at 47, and he was 10 years older than me at the time. I met him at when I was 39, I believe. So I started to see some of the traits they have sometimes are good. Like he was a fixer with cars or a fixer with things around the house. So I looked at that trait or those type of things like, oh, okay, I kind of like took those good things, and then I said, okay, I looked at red flags and kind of not really looked at the red flags when I should have saw them. Like if he wasn't, a good romantic partner, that was something I wanted. I kind of bypassed that. And another thing was, emotionally, I kind of wanted somebody. So it was that need and want at the time. So I recognized those during, my therapy sessions.
I mean, I understand how you feel. I mean, there's so many women in the.
Yeah,
You know what it was? Our parents told us by a
yeah,
certain time as women, you gotta get
yep,
married by 30. If you don't get married by 30, there's
yeah.
something wrong with
Yeah, there's
you.
some pressure.
So
It's
then,
society pressure.
yeah, it's I mean, I'm so happy. It's a lot of it's a lot of pressure. And then you're
Yeah.
supposed to have the kid before you're 35 because the eggs dry up. It was a constant pressure. I think by the time I was in high school, that's when I started hearing like, okay, you only got 15 more years. Like I was like, I'm
Mhm.
15. What do you mean? Oh, by 30, you gotta get married, have a house.
Right.
So then what happens is when you start approaching that age, women get nervous.
Yeah.
And when you start meeting, you might meet some people that you might not want to marry, but you might be like, well, how many? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to meet someone else after this person. So you kind of like, you know what? No one is perfect. So at first, when they start giving you the red flags, they're kind of pink, right? They're kind of pink. And you're like, well, no
Yeah.
one's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Like I'm 30, 31, 32, 33. Oh, shoot. Like my options are dropping like flies. So let's see if I can work with the situation, right? And then that's how you get sucked in. I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of women, especially, get sucked in with the pressure of trying to be married before you're 35 and trying to have your kids before 35 because science has told you after 35 your eggs are going to dry up and you only have a couple more years left to catch one of them. That is a lot of pressure, and I feel like that's why we as women kind of pick like like men that are not really like really good for us.
I would say that we stay in relationships that are not good for us longer than what we should. Sometimes it's just trial and error. You date, you don't know. Think of it this way. Nobody has given a book to date like 101. Like this is the blueprint. Nobody. We don't know how to date. And especially now, I can only imagine, the younger generation after us, they don't know how to date. So nobody really gave us a blueprint on how to date, what kind of mate to choose.
But
It's
you know what? I have to disagree because my dad gave me the blueprint.
oh, that's good. Yeah, that's
My
good.
dad, like, he didn't talk about SCX,
Yeah,
no, but seeing like my parents' relationship
right.
in the household was started becoming my blueprint. My parents were married for 45 years. You ask anybody, like, oh, they loved each other. I mean, they had the ups and downs, but I was fortunate. I think that's why I love so much because I was fortunate enough to experience the love that two parents could have for each other. I had the fortunate of just being part of a family, to see how my dad treated my mom. Like my dad, when my mom was tired, my 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 dad would cook. It it was like a partnership. I don't
Well,
know. Like
I
I
will say
sometimes I
it's a different time though, Danny. You got to remember they had a totally different time than we did. Totally different. The men were different. Like the women, our parents' age, they married for a certain reason. They had a family. It was a certain reason why they got married, and the male went to work and came home. Nowadays, our generation is totally different. We have to deal with, trying to mate, trying to find that right partner. Men now have more options than women to, date, different types of women, to their,
wait. So why do men have more options?
come on now. With
Are we,
the
but
advent of,
are we limiting? Are we
yes, we
limiting our
are.
options? All right.
We
So
are.
hold on. it's not that men have more options. It's just that us as
I
women
think
is limiting our options.
yes, a little bit of both. I feel like we have limited options only because men, they date any type of race, any, type of lady. We have specific traits sometimes, specific characteristics. So we're looking differently. Men would date anything. We're dating specifically to look for a
You
mate.
know, but let me tell you something. Men have it easier because men get to choose. So a man is the one. I mean, the man is the one that gets to kind of like, oh, she looks cute. Let me go approach her.
Right.
Oh, she looks. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish women were able to do that too. Like, I always felt uncomfortable approaching men and saying, hey, let's go on a date. Like, I think you're funny, because I always felt insecure, like maybe the guy didn't like me. So I think it was easier for a man to it's easier for a man to approach a woman, because a woman will get to kind of like the guy. I just think it's harder the other way around. And I think that's why I feel like men have more options,
Yeah.
because they get to choose.
Yeah, they get,
And
they
they get
have,
to choose, they get
4
to
or 5
ask.
days. They can have
No,
4 or 5 days. Meanwhile, we can have
wait,
like
wait.
maybe one a week. I don't know.
Well, you know what? I mean, it's so weird because we're talking about dating. It's just there's more women in the world
Yes.
than men.
Yes, it is.
So
Yep.
in my humble opinion, I feel like it's a man's world right now, because you are right, because they do have more options, because I think there's more women that have their stuff together.
Yes.
Like, there's more women who are like out there grinding, hustling, getting. I heard that women beat men in owning homes. Like, single women beat men in owning homes. Like, so women out there is doing their thing, right? And then I think it's a man's world, because they get to choose, which woman, fits their, criteria. I don't
Yeah.
know, but that on top of the narcissism, I feel like because men have a lot of options, they're just less empathetic, less
Well,
like.
you got to look at social media. Like, since the dating apps have come on the scene, it's totally changed the game. Like, look at everything. Like, I'm not, for dating apps, but that's not my thing, because I just feel like I still like to go out in public and actually talk to somebody. Like, I miss that. And I don't know.
What's so crazy? I've never gone on a dating app. I just feel I'm so old school.
Yeah.
I feel weird just going on a dating. I don't know. I have to just go and just I just have to just go out and then just meet the person live.
Yeah.
And let it be like
Organic. It has to be organic for me.
Organic, or because I love the butterflies in the stomach when you meet a guy and he's looking at you, you're looking at him, and then you get the butterflies. I don't know if you guys still get butterflies in your stomach. I don't know if that's old school, but I I get butterflies in my stomach. I love the whole process of just meeting someone new. I don't like just going on. It's enough that we're already on our phone a lot. I've heard friends that are on their phone all day long just searching for guys. I'm like,
right. Yeah, I can't. I feel, and I work from home. So if I need to get away from our computer, like, I'm over the whole phone, computer. So for me, getting away from my laptop, getting away from my phone, and meeting somebody organically, that's what I like. I like how you can ask because anybody can set up a dating profile and say whatever they want. It could be like,
we're gonna come right back to talk about that catfishing. Thank you for the live viewers on Optimum for joining. I'm proud of you, sis. Danny Benson, my guest Rhonda Mims, talking about narcissism and dating, and we will be right back for some more Danny Benson. Yay! Let's talk about dating and catfishing. You know why I never really go to apps? I feel like dating apps, a lot of men are very dishonest. I
Yeah.
like, and they tell you what you want to hear.
Hmm.
So and sometimes I feel like it's dangerous. I don't know. Like I've heard stories like people meet each other in an app, next day girls missing, girls
Yep.
getting killed. I just feel that this is the way I see it. The reason I want to meet someone live is because if you're really I feel like if you're crazy, I will pick it up right away. I think when you do it through an app, I think you can fool people where you won't really pick it up right away because it's just like your communication is through like the telephone versus
Right.
like in real life where you kind of feel the vibes when someone comes up to you because someone could come up to me and I can tell someone's crazy.
Hmm.
I could just I feel it like all of my hair I could just feel the energy because I'm an energy type of person. I just feel like when you go on apps, like dating apps, I can't really feel the energy. And I feel like everyone's lying, how tall they are, what school they went
Right.
to, and then they get you to like them. And by the time you meet them, they're not what they are, but you're like, well, he was not, but he's not. Like you start convincing yourself to like the person.
Right.
I mean, have you been on a couple of dates on because
I went
you used to do it dating
one.
apps, right?
I went one time many, many years ago before it got over flooded on, social media, and I wasn't impressed. I will admit I was not impressed, and that's what kind of deterred me from wanting to do it again. And like you mentioned, like somebody could lie about their height, lie about their looks. The guy I went on a date with, I think he had a profile picture up. It looked like it was 10 years, a younger picture. So that was a, red flag for me. And the guy was I just didn't feel like he was like a good person after a while. I went on 2 dates and that was it. After that, never went back on dating apps again. And some people, you have some friends say, oh, I met my husband on social media or, a dating app. That's fine and good. But think about how many swipes you had to go through or how many dates you had to go
Or
through.
how many frogs you had to kiss.
Yes, exactly. But I will say it's not as easy in person as you think because you still have to kind of go through like the vetting process with meeting somebody in person. You may not pick up on a lot of traits just by, that one, meeting in person. You have to kind of feel them out, check them out, what they say, how they are, nonverbal cues, verbal cues. So I feel like, but still in person, I feel like it's better for me. That's just me.
You know what's sad? Like what I'm trying, like it's sad that our parents like really honestly set us up for failure
Well,
because
no. How would I don't think they set us up for failure. I just believe they were from a different time period. You know what I'm saying? Like this time period that we're in, it's very different. It's very social media driven. So, everything is about likes, everything is about looks, everything is about impressing. So it's very different. I wouldn't say they set us up. It's just they just lived in a different space and a different time where they, kind of valued marriage more. And not to even to mention, those marriages wasn't perfect. They had their issues and things like that. But I just feel like we're just in a different space and a different time.
no, I mean, like what my parents did with me was it was career, school.
Yes. Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
they didn't honestly. My mom had me when she was like 19, and it's weird because I think that's when all the parents like prior generation had kids like in their
Yep.
like 19,
16,
20,
17.
got
Yeah.
married
We're
by
very young.
20, 21.
Right.
So what happened with like me and my siblings was my parents did the opposite with us. Our parents was like, no, you need to go to college.
Right.
You need to get the career. And I think I had to be reminded. I had to be reminded to one day my dad was like, oh, I know we push this career thing, but are you going to like stop and just meet someone
Yeah.
to have married? And I was like, oh yeah,
It
yeah,
was the
yeah.
same with
Yeah, yeah.
me. It was the
But I think they
exact
messed
same
I think
thing.
but you know what? I look at my parents, I was like, you guys are the reasons why I probably could have gotten married like 20. I probably would have had
Were you been
kids.
happy? That's the thing. Were you would have you been happy? Were you happy then if you did get married in your 20s or 30s?
I don't know. I mean, our
I
parents
don't
were
know.
happy.
Remember, we were hanging out like really.
Oh, yo, don't even.
We were
Okay,
hanging
so
out.
yeah, you know what? We were hanging out. Let me just tell you something. I have no regrets
Yeah, same
in
here.
my life.
No regrets. No regrets.
I had, let me tell you something. Look, I'm like, I had, I had bad times in my life, but let me tell you
Yeah.
something. I would never take back
Yes.
the generation and the year I was born. Because let me tell you, compared to what's going on right now,
Yeah.
I am so happy. And I know you've known me for, I'm so happy that we were able, we could go to Cancun and it would stay in Cancun. Like,
Right.
no, like it's to the point that I wish I had more pictures because
Right.
we had so much fun.
Yes, exactly.
No social media. We
Right.
went out dancing until our hair sweat off of our heads.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
I mean, we didn't. There was no like you did something and the whole world knew in 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it was the best. We had the best. That's why I can't have any regrets because having a regret would mean that I would be removed from that time period.
Right. So yeah,
And I
that's why I said
cannot.
I'm glad I didn't, quickly have that, decision to get married because we partied. We had a legit good time. So it's just now that we're actually looking for mates, it's a little different now. So
I know. I think we were having a little bit too much
too much
fun.
fun.
We were like Sex in the City, like, oh my God, the martinis.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I don't think those men were narcissists back then.
No, they
No,
just
they were
I
not.
feel like they were
They
just
were not.
genuinely like our age.
They would
having a
buy
good
drinks. They would
Right.
open the door. They would open
Yeah.
the door. They would open the door in the car. I,
Yeah.
I think narcissism really like came out when social media came out because
Yeah, and a lot.
it
You got to
had
remember
to
a
be.
lot of different influencers, a lot of social media influence. I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but a lot of influencers that's triggering these male, attitudes and different opinions about women, and also we can't, forget like a lot of women are doing, body reconstruction.
I
So it's a
know.
little different. It's a little different.
See that is a lot of pressure because back in the day a man would take you at your natural state. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I didn't wear. People might say I'm basic. I really don't wear makeup like that. I never
Mhm.
really. Because I remember growing up. It's like if you had foundation on, the man would be like, "Oh my God, you're ruining my clothes. Don't wear that." So we used to not really wear foundation. We used to maybe powder our nose so it wouldn't be oily. Just put a little lipstick, mascara, and that was
Right.
it. We went to go get our eyebrows done, so we didn't even pencil them in. They were just done, like just like manicured. I mean, I just so miss those times, and I have like two daughters, and I just feel so bad for them because I don't think they'll ever have the time of my life that our era and
Yeah,
eras
I
before
think by the
had.
time they get, adult age, it'll be a lot different for them too. Probably,
No,
hopefully
because
better.
no, because when we go out now, I still don't really like to go out. Like, I mean, I like to go out to dinner and stuff like that, but it's not. They don't dance. Like people don't dance. People are on
Yeah,
their phone. Like it's
exactly. This is
like they're like
exactly
this.
why
I'm
people
like,
are
what is the
on
point
the
of you?
phones,
What is
going
the point of you
live.
coming out if you're just gonna be on your phone the whole night?
Mhm.
And then so that's why I think the narcissism is coming from. I think everyone, I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of people are more
Yeah,
selfish. A
yeah,
lot, a lot of people are more into
a lot of
themselves.
self-centered. So I would
Yeah,
say self-centered.
self-centered. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
all
think
about
like,
the post.
yeah, and I think when you're really feeling yourself, why would you have empathy?
Yeah,
Why would you,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like you think you're the best thing since sliced bread. So why would you need to cater to somebody when you know there's 50 million of them waiting to be with you? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the attitude,
right.
that's the person attitude. Like social media has made the world so much smaller that if you don't want to be with me, okay, fine. I can
Yeah, I
go to
can
the
find
app.
the next person.
I can
Next.
find the next person. Like, back in the day, you would marry the person you went to school with, person
Yeah.
at your job, person live on your block, person at the bar, person at
Yeah.
the club. So you didn't have like those opportunities to meet like the whole world in one place, which is your phone.
Right.
So you met someone and then you built with them, and it wasn't the fact that you were thinking about, oh, the grass is green on the other side, because
Mhm.
there wasn't that much grass really.
Right.
And then social media happened.
Yep. I
And
agree.
then the narcissism happened, and then the rudeness
Yes.
happened, and then the ghosting
Mhm.
happened. Like, you meet a guy and you think everything is okay, and they just slow ghost you.
And women
Wow.
do some of it too. I will say, women ghost men as well. So
No,
it's
back in the day, women used to ghost.
yes, yes,
We used to always ghost. Like, if I wasn't
right.
interested in you, but
Mhm.
thank God there wasn't no cell phones, because my
Right, and
excuse
it's
was like, I'm
different.
at home.
You can find everybody on social media. If you see them online, you're like, okay, you ghost me, but I see you online. So
I know. See, back then when there was no social media, you kind of tend to believe the person because we just had like landlines.
right,
So,
right,
oh, I'm busy. I wasn't home. Remember, we didn't have a phone carrying on us.
right.
So whenever you got home is when you got home.
Yeah,
So the guys didn't know that we were ghosting them. Ghosting means that we're not returning the call. Like, we see
right,
you calling and we're just not returning it. And we
exactly.
don't know how to politely tell you we're not interested, so we just don't answer the phone. So that's what ghosting is. There's like, I'm leaving, like I'm ghosting. So just for the audience to understand, what is ghosting? So that's why I love that era. Now you have a cell phone. Everyone expects you to pick up in 5 minutes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just text you. I just
Yep.
called you. I'm like, so you don't have like you don't even have a. Sometimes I feel like you don't even have a choice. It's like, I
Right.
got to answer. And you are
Everything
right.
well, I think with technology, everything is immediate. So I think text, especially with texting, everybody's expecting you to respond. Like if I'm at work and I'm not, if I'm receiving text messages, sometimes I don't answer till I'm finished my, 8, 9 hour workday. I can't help it because if I'm busy on a project, if you're not my priority at the time, I'm not going to text you back. You
And I
might
and I
get
think
a
and I
text back
think I
a
think
couple
that's what
hours.
social media created. It created right now. I
Yeah,
want it right now. Like,
exactly.
I want it right now. And if you don't get it right now, um,
Well, it's not just social media, it's everything that we're doing, right? Everything, as far as technology wise, everything is quick, fast, you know.
quick, fast. Okay, so all right. So will you ever date a narcissistic guy again?
No, no, and no. And not if I can help it. I know the signs now, so I'm much more aware. So no.
No, but narcissistic, people
Mm.
need love too.
No, I'm good. I am okay. They have tons of people they can date other than me. I don't want them at all. No.
Well, okay. So, what did you learn about yourself in this relationship? Like now that it ended, did you learn that you had a low self-esteem? Did you learn
No,
that
I
you
was
didn't set your
fine.
boundaries? Because with narcissistic
It
people,
It was
boundaries.
boundaries for me. That was it. The self-esteem, that was never a problem for me. It was number one was boundaries. And that's what I realized during my therapy session. It was just boundaries that I kind of put out there, but passively, aggressively, not really, holding, on. And it's basically setting the boundary for myself, not so much the person. Because if I see something right away, see a red flag, I'm like, no, that's not going to be for me. So yeah, I would say number one thing is boundaries.
And I think
Just
that's the number one thing with everything in life.
yeah,
Everyone has to learn how to set like their boundaries, and I call them deal breakers, like things that you are not going to accept and things
exactly
that you are not going to compromise on.
right.
That has to do with your moral code.
Hmm.
you know um I I've learned to set boundaries. Like, I have clear boundaries of what I will tolerate and what I will not tolerate, and I'm fine with myself. See, I'm okay being alone. Actually, I love being alone.
Mhm.
Like, you don't understand. I have like the one of the best relationships with
Yeah,
myself.
right,
I love
exactly.
being alone, and I think that when you get to that point when you love being alone and you love yourself, and then the boundaries are really set, because the moment that person crosses that boundary, you look at yourself and be like, well, okay, it's over. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
And it's not that it's over the first time. So you got to give people chances. Like, you can't, it's not really the first time. It's when, like you said, when it becomes a pattern.
Exactly.
So that's what we
Exactly.
want you guys to understand. We want you guys to understand, when it comes to narcissistic people or any type of people, set your boundaries, what you want in a relationship and what you don't want in a relationship, and keep those boundaries. And of course, no one is perfect, right? So because I'm not perfect, but you put the deal breakers down. So if that person crosses, like a perfect one, like, I want to, I don't want to be with a cheater. You know what I mean? I know men say, oh, men cheat. Da, da, da. Okay, cool. I don't want to be with a cheater. You
Right.
know what I mean? So you gotta give that clear boundary and let that person know right away. And then you gotta hold that boundary, because the problem is, once the person cheat and you stay, then that's what messes up you not having clear boundaries, because now you just settle for something that you would not settle for. But because you love the person, you're giving them another chance, but now the person knows they just broke into the boundary. Like, oh, you said you were gonna leave me, you didn't leave me, okay. And then that's when the repeated cycle starts happening. And it's, like I said, there's people that, that stick to their boundaries, and there's people that don't stick to their boundaries. So with narcissistic people, just understand this: they have no empathy, they gaslight a lot, they don't take accountability, they're very charming. It's all about themselves. You can always Google it to find more about it, to find out if your relationship is a narcissistic relationship. And let me tell you this: they will not change. So don't think that they're going to change. That's one fact. Ask so many therapists, they don't change.
Yeah.
So you either learn to deal with them and deal with the love bombing and the cycles continuously, or you have to give yourself self-love and walk away. And that's what Miss Rhonda Mims did.
Yes, I did.
So I
Walk
want to tell you,
away.
yeah, I want to let you know, Rhonda, I'm so proud of you, sis. Thank you, everyone,
Thank
for joining.
you.
I'm so proud of you, Rhonda. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I'm proud of you, sis. See you next week. I'm host Danny Benson. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye bye.
everybody. Bye.